Good day, fellow lore sages, and welcome to Lore Academia. It's Monday again, so that means it's time for us to go back here and read more adventures about the Moonshae Isles. Thank you very much for being here. All right, Chaos Ham is here. It's all right. You're not late. A sage is never late. Or is that supposed to be a wizard? All right, we can apply it to sages, right? Anyway, welcome. If you're new here, what do? We read adventures, source materials, um, anything to extract lore about our topic that we're researching on. And for me, since some information about me, I'm an adventure writer. I write a freelance Dungeons and Dragons adventure writer. I Most of the things that I write is or publish is also for Adventures League, which is the fifth edition organized play system for D&D fifth edition. That's a bit confusing, but yeah. And then I'm also one of the storyline coordinators for the Moonshae Isles under Ballman Games. So that's why we're doing this. We're reading as many adventures as we can, as many documents, source books, source materials, anything that will help us and help me learn more about the Moonshaes, right? As opposed to fourth edition, which is the Living Forgotten Realms. That is correct. And I think there's also another term for like third edition. I think it was like Living Greyhawk at that time because I think that was this. I'm not sure. I'm a 5e baby, so I'm not sure what's the default setting for the previous editions. Or was it also like fourth edition, like Living Greyhawks? I don't know. But yeah. So there. That's what we're doing here in this channel. And last week, we started reading this adventure, which is the Moon5-3 adventure module, Bloodlust tempered under Rising Shadows, and it's a big adventure. It's a big adventure, and there's a lot of things. There's not a lot of things happening there, but the way it was fleshed out, there's a lot of information there, and that's why it took us like 2 sessions. So this is our second session of reading it, and supposed to read it Tuesday last week. However, things happened, and more specifically, my kid got sick. So Ziggy, if you follow me on Twitter, see that baby is always like in different D&D costume. Yeah. So apparently he got measles before his scheduled vaccine. So that's why he was in the hospital for 3 days. So we have to be there. Me and my wife take care of him, and I don't know. There was a time where I wanted to stream at the hospital, but I know the internet is gonna be crap, and also I'm just too scared that I'm afraid of ghosts. So I'm just scared that if I stream there, I point my camera somewhere, there's just like a ghost that will pop up behind me, and then that's it, game over, right? So that's why we just. Yeah, you know what? Just be chill, relax, focus on Ziggy first, and then that's what we did. And then today, it's good to be back, right? So now we're gonna finish Bloodlust Tempered, and hopefully we can continue on like other Moonshae Rising Shadows adventures this week. Because yeah, I miss this. I miss doing this. This is like it needs to be like a habit, right? And when I stop doing it, I feel like there's that itch that it needs to be done. It needs to be completed. And, and that's why good to be back in this chair, facing the adventure that we're gonna read, talking to chat and everything. So yeah, that's good. Another update is our emotes. As I mentioned, we're gonna have tons of emotes. We already have like some commission emotes. We have emotes done by one of our mods, Chaos Hammer, as well. If you're not in Discord, feel free to join us. You'll see like all the discussion there on how we decided on the emotes that we're gonna have. Um, One got auto approved, which is what you see in chat right now with Chaos Hammer. But I sent an email, not an email. I sent a ticket request to Twitch, and it's just that there's too many emotes or channels, Twitch channels for approval. That's it. There's no problem with our emotes. There's no problem with my face or anything that we made as an emote. It's just these emotes have to be manually, or some, or a lot of these emotes rather, have to be manually approved. And there's just too many at the moment. Like the list is so long. I guess a lot of people are becoming affiliates, which is good. Yay for us on Twitch. And not enough manpower on Twitch, so to approve all those emotes. Uh, yeah. So yeah, you wonder why one of the batch gets approved if they're all submitted at the same. Yeah, I don't know why there's a pre-approve. There is a pre-approve setting on Twitch for emotes, but again, there's like a prerequisite for that. Like I need to be streaming for 60 unique days to have that feature enabled. So I'm not sure why the question mark Sage got approved right away and then the others are still pending. Um, yep, I don't know. Maybe someday we can do like we can study Twitch, how it works, like the inside and outs of Twitch, and figure out how many employees they have, what's the process of like approving these emotes, right? So things like that. And but yeah, that's nobody knows, right? But that's basically it. That's the update on that. Also, what else do we have here? There's a lot of things going on, not with me personally, but things that needs to be accomplished by me. I guess. So that's why it's becoming I'm trying to juggle a lot of different projects. So right now, on the Moonshae Isles side, we have Origins is coming up. Actually, let me Google where is Origins happening. Origins 2023. Where is this happening? Origins Great Fair, Game Fair, which is in Greater Columbus. Where is Greater Columbus? Is that in the DC area? Oh, Ohio. Okay. It's happening in Ohio. Okay. So yeah, so Origins is happening this June, and that means we will have 3 more Moonshae Isle adventures premiering during that month or during that event. I wonder how close to that town that is. Oh, is it near East Palestine? Is that? Oh man, that is bad. Hope everyone is. I know not everyone is okay there, but man, there's a lot of things happening there. There's a lot of things that should be done that's not being done. But I'm gonna refrain from talking about that because if I do start talking about it, that's gonna consume this whole stream. But what's this? Yeah, what I'm saying here is that in Origins, we're gonna be premiering 3 Moonshae Isles adventures. That's part of the Malefic Delusions storyline, and I'm excited for that. But that means we need to get those done before the event on June. So that's on the Moonshae Isles. We got some fantastic writers line up for that, and I can't wait to see what they produce. Because from the beginning of Malefic Delusion storyline, from Adventure 1 to 6, and then the Epic, it's just so awesome, so great. It was well received during Winter Fantasy, and now I'm excited for Origins because I know with the list of authors that we have for this next trilogy, oh, it's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. And then what else? So that's one of the projects that I'm working on. The second project is that, for those who don't know, I live here in the Philippines, and here in the Philippines locally, I'm part of an event organizing group called the Greasy Snitches. So we run games at conventions. We do our own conventions. We do like pop-up events, D&D events, or TTRPG events at malls, things like that. Basically, just helping to grow the community and maintain that community, and also, just enjoy playing games. That's what we do. That's the reason why we built the Greasy Snitch, because we just want more people to play with. And with the Greasy Snitches, we have an event happening on March 25, 26. I can't really tell like the specific stuff, but it involves a D&D movie. Yeah, I can't say the specifics of that event, but yeah, it involves that. So that's happening. Is that the last weekend of March? Yeah, I think that's the last weekend for March. So yeah, so that's that. So that needs to be taken care of. And then last one, or is it the last one? I think it's the last one. And then last one is Fallout. All right. There's things that needs to be done for Fallout, or things that I need to do for Fallout, but other things are happening. So juggling those three projects right now, that's where I'm at, right? And then while I'm here on stream, this is like kind of like my zen zone, right? So it's good. It's a good problem to have, having these projects available, making sure that they all go smoothly, and everybody gets to see the adventures or whatever project that we're making, or an event, things like that. People enjoy it, so that's good. I love the process. This stress that I'm feeling right now, it's all part of that process, and it's also good stress, I would like to say. But yeah, that is where I'm at the moment. Okay, so a lot of things are happening, good things, but yeah. So if you see me kind of screwing up our schedule, and then that doesn't involve like my personal life. That's just like the projects that I'm working on. Then, there'll be like a wedding that I have to attend, and all these parties coming up, all that stuff that I have to attend, because here in the Philippines, we're all we have like big families. It's someone's birthday, it's your cousin's grandmother's sister's birthday, or like send-offs going to another country or something. A lot of those things that you have to attend, or else like that side of the family will be sad or upset. Worse, they get mad at you, right? So you need to make sure that you attend those, right? Plus there's a lot of good food, and I cannot refuse that. Like especially in my wife's side, like their family, like a lot of them like know how to cook good food, and man, you just can't refuse that. So there. So it's like a priority. Upset all family members equally. I try not to. So that's that. So that's the app update of what's happening to me. But hopefully, we can get some, this schedule, our stream, Lore Academia stream, consistent. We'll try to do our best. In terms of the Fallout stream, I don't know. It's man, there's so many things happening. So it's either I'm just gonna pop online live and start playing. Whoever's awake, you can feel free to join me, or I'm just gonna play the game on my own with my friends, or probably on Discord. Just gonna be on Discord and just talk to whoever's online there. Uh, try to make it zero. We'll do our best. All right, so here we go. So we're gonna go. Those are the updates. Let's go. Just guerrilla stream it here. I'll try to do that. I'll try to do that. That's probably the plan. The best plan is to have no plan, right? So just click on live, play the game. That's it. Anyway, Rising Shadows, Bloodlust Tempered. This is gonna be part 3 of the Moon 5 trilogy. After this, we can move to Moon 6, which is another trilogy. There are 20 of these, as you can see. We're now on the second row, on the rightmost circle, on the second row from the top. And our goal is to go all the way down to the bottom center to Moon 20. And each one of these circles have like 3 adventures in them. So that's a lot of adventures. And last time, based on our notes here on the left side, what do we have? So this is written by Stephen Rowe, and which is did a good job in kind of like fleshing out these cult who's pretending to be like worshippers of Tempest, right, the god of war, and who calls themselves the Guardians of the North. And you have this their leader, what was his name? We should go back here to there. Scory Borson is actually a survivor, or not a survivor. He's a follower of Yenogu, which is one of the demon gods that the Gnolls worship. And Scory is basically a folk. He killed someone in, was it Enga? I think that's the name of it. In places. Yeah, Enga. He killed someone in Enga, got exiled, and then like a group of like evil Northlanders found him and got into a tournament arc where he killed a lot of people, and he's the only one that survived, even like Gnolls. And then he got a ring. He got a magic ring that kind of controlled him. Where is that? Where's that name of the ring? There you go. Korash. Yes, Korash, a sentient ring. And the ring is kind of helping him. You know what? You want more blood? You want to kill more people? All right. Well, I want more people to worship Yenogu. Right, so let's have a deal. And so they created the Guardians of the North, kind of spread this belief that, you know, the Northlanders need to go back to their roots of like being reavers and pillaging stuff, killing people, all that stuff. You know, you're supposed to be tough if you're a Northlander, all that stuff. Because again, Northlanders are kind of like based on Vikings who go and invade lands and stuff and kill people, and that trope basically is where they're mostly based on. And now we went to their base, which is called Anvil. Right, that's what it's called, Anvil. It's an island base that is supposedly, or there's already a fortress there, and that fortress is actually a fortress temple for the worshippers of Tempest. And we went there trying to like undercover as like acolytes, trying to be, you know, members of this Guardians of the North. And we're able to get there. We're able to get to the Isle of Anvil, and in part 2, we're able to go to like different locations of this fortress temple. Let me see if I can show the map here. Yeah, so this is the area. And then, oh, the side view of it. That's whoever made these maps. They're, again, cool. And then you have like the first level, all that stuff that we went through, lower level, and the towers and everything. So there, we were able to get there. All right. So now that's a lot. That's a lot. Now we're going to part 3 of the adventure and see what actually happens in this fortress slash base of the Guardians of the North, aka cultists of or cult followers of the demon lord, demon prince Ionogu. Okay, so if I can find part 3, that would be great. Just bear with me. Close your eyes a bit because that's part 2. There we go, part 3. Okay. Now we're here. Whew. Part 3, 90 minutes, investigating the cult. This is what we're doing now. Want to know what's happening here? Is it just a simple cultist, group of cultists pretending to be someone else? Just gathering as many people as they can, and then some being sacrificed to like the beast of Ionogu, things like that? Or is there like a deeper plot here that will kind of carry on towards future adventures? We'll see. Okay. All right, so let's go start reading this. So the character's primary goal in this adventure is to collect evidence against Scory. Yep. Arrest him, bring him back alive to Norhelm for trial. And they might have many secondary goals, such as aiding the acolytes or simply see opportunities to do the right thing. Unfortunately, the characters probably can't right all wrongs to save everyone. Yeah. Curse of a hero, right? This part functions as a sandbox, outlining different ways the characters might act to gain allies, collect evidence, and undermine Scory's power. Yeah. New haircut. Thanks. I'm not sure if it's new, but yeah, the long hair face is gone. Yeah. That was like a COVID era hairstyle where it get too lazy to cut your hair. But yeah, that one is it's gone. Now we're back to being just a normal dude. This is just like a NPC commoner haircut mode. Be presentable. It has to be presentable. Yeah. So cosplaying Freddy Aguilar. Yeah. For those who don't know, you should Google that. You should Google that name. And yeah, when I had long hair and then I had that hat, yeah, I did look like Freddy Aguilar. Anyway, going back, boot camp. This is, you gotta check what's going on here because there's a lot of things happening here. So even though we're starting at part 3, there's a lot of stuff here that we have to read. So most of the encounters in this part are optional and relatively unstructured, depending on the characters taking proactive action. To provide some structure, the encounters in this section require the character's participation. I like the setting of expectations for the dungeon master who's reading this, but we're gonna give the author the benefit of the doubt, right? That this is really the structure, or this is how he wrote this adventure. It was all intentional to be, that there is no structure to it, quote unquote. But this is also, if I'm kind of like a, what do you call this, lawful neutral or chaotic neutral, lawful evil kind of writer, this is a good way for me to make an excuse if I'm too tired to edit and put things in order to make sure that it's easily understandable, right? I think I'm giving like bad tips to future adventure writers. No, don't do that. But I'm saying if you set the expectations outright that hey, you know what you're about to read is kind of chaotic in or like not in order and hard to understand, but it's meant that way, right? Because I wrote a lot of stuff, so that's why it's like that, and it's too much for me to kind of cut paste them in the order that they need to be in. Um, but yeah, that's just the evil writer in me thinking, uh, which is not good. Anyway, going back, all acolytes must attend 2 training sessions each day, one before lunch and one before supper. Oh, everything's starting to come back now that these guys have like a good life here. Like if you're part of the Guardians of the North, you do training, you eat a lot. There's drinking involved. The only thing you have to do is kind of uh be part of like guard duty, like part of the watch at night. That's it. Okay. And the specific nature of these training sessions varies, but they are always physically grueling competitions. Winners are rewarded and losers are punished. Each training session requires a athletics check. Succeeding on the check by 5 or more means a character is one of the winners. They get to skip the next training session. Wow. Okay. Either getting extra free time or watching with the cult leaders. On a failed check, they don't get served losers and doesn't get served during the following meal. Failing by 5 or more inflicts 1 level of exhaustion as well, because again, this is like hardcore physical training that you are doing here as an acolyte. A character can take disadvantage on their check to give advantage to another character. A character can gain advantage on their check by choosing to cheat, always to the detriment of other acolytes. The cult leaders always turn a blind eye to cheating and subtly encourage it. I love that. I love that part. Okay. Um, the following options can be used or act as an example when creating training sessions. So we can do like climbing, like they climb up a steep cliff on the northern side of the island. What else? Diving. Have to dive on the wall on the north side and then plunging safely into the ocean without too much harm. A cheater could push to the front or trip someone to get a prime position. Okay. Con check drinking games are so fun. I think there is. So yeah, there's drinking contest. Let's read it. Lifting as well and swimming. Okay, there. So these are like, I'm just gonna assume that these are like Olympic style training that you're doing here in the Isle of Anvil. And if you're strong, you get exempted to the next training session, and you get to be chummy with the cult leaders, and or get some free time, right? Uh, Long rests. Fighters, barbarians, all like they're gonna have a fun time here. I'm assuming. Long rests. Oh, there we go. Part of brainwashing the acolytes is keeping them tired and stressed. The cult leaders actively prevent the characters from taking a long rest throughout the adventure. We can sneak off to a quiet place to avoid being woken or sleep during mandatory guard duty with trickery. However, the leaders perform cursory checks to see if everybody is present and not shirking their responsibility. Oh, this is great. It's all part of the plan. I like that. Like I thought these guys are just having like a good time here. But that's why you're part of the watch at night. And it's only at night. I was like curious, like how come it's not like a 24/7 thing that you people have to keep watch? Right? Why is it only at night? And this is part of it. they don't want the acolytes, even the adventurers, to get some rest. Make it easier for your mind to be susceptible to charm effects or anything like that, right? Or brainwashing, as they say here. So, and now the drinking contest makes sense and everything. Oh, wow! It's all starting to click now. I'm liking the author, the one who wrote this adventure. That's very good. And this is what I'm saying in terms of writing an adventure. You don't put everything at the beginning. Uh, like there's still like I know you're the dungeon master. You're supposed to know everything on how to run this particular adventure module, but like the next level, the next step is also, yes, I need to make sure I can run this to my players, but I want to make sure that when I'm reading this adventure, it's also enjoyable, right? And hey, Ninja Gold is here also. Um, so yeah, you want to make sure that the adventure is enjoyable uh, to read as just like a normal reader or a dungeon master. And part of that is you don't reveal everything at the beginning. You give that sense of discovery, as like the players do as they go through the adventure. Same with the dungeon master. As you read through it, you discover things like, oh, that's why this happened and that happened. Now it all makes sense. And here, this is a beautiful example of that, because now we're all like um, enjoying this. So uh, we have that there. Okay. And what else do we have here? Drinking contest. So let's continue. The cult leaders regularly hold drinking contests during the evening meal. They open a keg of strong ale or mead, and nobody gets to leave until it's empty. This ultimately performs the same function as the training sessions by encouraging individual competition and weakening the acolytes. All part of the plan. It has the added benefits of making them more susceptible to manipulation while drunk. Oh boy, there's gonna be like a lot of content warnings here. While seeming like a reward or a gift rather than grueling trial. This functions as a training session, except that the characters make a con check, con athletics check, and characters failing to save by 5 or more gain poison condition instead of 1 level of exhaustion. And the poison condition lasts for 1 day or until the character finishes a long rest. If you have the poisoned conditioned, that means you have disadvantage on attack rolls and ability checks, which is worse than 1 level of exhaustion, because 1 level of exhaustion is just disabilities on disabilities disadvantage. What the hell? Disadvantages on um, ability checks, and then but poison condition also gives you disadvantage on attack rolls. So being poisoned is worse. Tricks of the trade. Okay. We can consider the following guidance when doing a bootcamp encounter. So let's see if there's anything else here. Oh, the sargassum spirits are back while diving or swimming. Spot the secret door in Area C while climbing. Everyone is distracted. Okay. So there are things that can be done here. Selflessness. Each training session is created to encourage malicious self-interest. However, characters might aid their cause through selfless actions. Maybe they gain disadvantage to help another acolyte or sneak food to a loser. Benevolent actions like this could be encouraged and rewarded, though the specifics and outcomes can vary. Maybe it lets the characters befriend one of the NPC acolytes, or give the character advantage on a later ability check. A thankful acolyte might forget they saw the character sneaking around after hours, or run interference for them so they can long rest on guard duty. Okay. If the character chooses to cheat, It's not forgotten by the acolytes, hurt in the process, and which makes it difficult for the character to later convince the acolytes of Scory's guilt when confronting him. Good, good. Now, like this cult, this adventure is starting to become alive, right? Like in part two, we kind of fleshed out like what's in the castle, what's in this fortress slash temple. What are the rooms? What are the things you like the people that are here, and like the program, the schedule, and everything. So that kind of got fleshed out. Now here, we are told like what's the purpose behind those activities. Like, why do you have training at this time and that time of the day? Why are there drinking sessions happening at night? Why is the guard duty only happening at this? Why is everyone required to do that? And all those things, right? Now it's all starting to make sense. And then when you interact with this different NPCs, if you're good to them, then this can help you later on in regards to your goal. But then you can cheat as well, and it's fun to cheat in a D&D game, not gonna lie. There are times where not cheat like game wise, I mean cheat as like your character trying to accomplish something, and you kind of instead of doing the right thing, you do something else to make it easier for your character. That one at times is enticing to players, and it's good to see that here, if they do that, then there are consequences, right? So good to know. So we have like there are, what do you call this? So there are rewards and consequences for good behavior versus quote unquote bad behavior in game. Okay. Tests of character. This section outlines a series of optional interaction encounters that help NPC acolytes escape indoctrination. Success in these interactions will make it easier to convince the acolytes of Scory's guilt in part 4. And the leaders of the cult attempt to break down an acolyte's sense of self. All right, this is their goal. So the leaders of the cult are attempting to break down an acolyte's sense of self. Even if an individual remains unaware of Yenogu's involvement, they still become loyal pawns. There are always stubborn rebels, but Scory feeds them to the hyenas. All right, so if you're not gonna give in, well, you're gonna be tomorrow's lunch for the hyenas. He tells everyone they took the coward's path. Okay, departing for home on Captain Colden's ship, and Dag will verify this lie for a fee. And the characters can encounter the brainwashing, but not through simple conversation. It can only be defeated by helping heal the issues making the NPC susceptible in the first place. Oh, I'm liking this. Tricks of the trade. We can consider the following guidance when determining how to best run these interaction encounters. So this is optional. These interactions are meant to provide hooks and prompts the DM can introduce, okay? And should the characters run out of ideas, so what can we do? The checks are focused on roleplay, and the DM might feel checks are warranted if it is not recommended that the outcome of the encounter depends on a check success or failure. Okay. Miss clues. Each of the allied NPCs has a short story arc which provides clues to the for other actions the characters can take. This may be useful if the characters haven't learned much about the cult through separate exploration and investigation. Consider introducing stories which might provide beneficial clues. And these are all optional. Okay. And we have the NPCs. I think we'll have several NPCs here. Other acolytes. While the adventure primarily focuses on 3 named NPC acolytes, there are at least a dozen more on the island so we can create other NPCs as well, other than the characters. In general, they're young humans with Northlander folk or intermingled heritage. There are more men than women, but not to a grossly significant degree. Most originally come from humble backgrounds like farming, fishing. They are impressionable, gullible, and experiencing spiritual fulfillment for the first time in their lives. Oh man, almost all are relatively innocent, more ignorant than evil, and that again, I think we made the right decision of not like continuing like reading this like one time big time previous stream, because now we can digest this more, absorb what the content better. And this is one of again another kudos to the writer, because you're not just fighting a black and white evil person, right? You have these people that are doing something wrong or about to do something wrong, and that's because they're not evil in nature. They're just ignorant. They don't know that what they're doing is wrong, and that's like us at the beginning, right? These guys, or at least me, like you get here, you become part of Guardians of the North. You get to train. So imagine learning some skills, right? Fighting skills. What's not to like about that? Or like at least think of it. It's like the easiest way to digest this. Like you get to attend self defense class, and then you get to attend. You get full meals as well here every day, right? And then you also have like drinking sessions, and then there are times where you get lazy or you want to get competitive, but your alignment is kind of iffy, so you cheat, and that's and then you know that you should get caught, or even if you got caught, you're not apprehended about it, or like nobody's telling you that you're doing it wrong, so you get away with it basically. And then so it's all good, right? But you're not realizing that while you're doing all these like what looks like mundane activities, slowly, right? Like you party for like 5 days straight, 10 days straight, and and then you you drop your defenses, and now they start to attack and try to brainwash you and make you worship Inogu, right? And you start like following one order at a time. Just do this or send this fellow acolyte to this prison, and then until it gets to a point like, why don't you feed your friend to the hyenas because he's not following like the tenets of Tempest, quote unquote, right? So, and then at that point you're trapped. Like, how can you leave? Like, they treated you nicely when you did something wrong. They didn't make a big deal out of it. They tried to listen to your concerns. They tried to be your friend. All that other stuff, man. Like, I'm scared because I feel like the one who wrote this like has like great knowledge about cults and everything. Like that's how it works. And I'm getting scared. It's like it's too real. But yeah, but that kind of realism and what's this interaction being conveyed to the reader and to the dungeon master, which hopefully the dungeon master can convey it down to the players as well, and to enjoy like a good game of Dungeons and Dragons. This is really good. Gonna have good knowledge of cults to protect yourself from cults. Yeah, that's right. Um, so let's continue. But yeah, I'm loving it and I'm scared at the same time. That's what I'm feeling right now as we continue reading this adventure. Unfortunately, the characters cannot hope to save them all on an individual level. Oh man, they can only help some, and in so doing, try to inspire the rest by example. All right, so who are the named NPCs? We have Ingrid Osmond. Ingrid is, I think we talked to Ingrid already, right? Yeah, she was with us at the ship, I think. Oops, what happened to my notes? There you go. She was with us when we boarded the ship and traveled here to Anvil. Ingrid is one of the most impressive warriors among the acolytes, but seems to have, quote unquote, gone soft. The cult leaders elect to break her of her weakness. They favor her with, excuse me, unnecessary punishments, resulting in less food and sleep, and set the demons on her. Nightmares. The Dunkwasits. Oh, I forgot about the Dunkwasits. The spies haunt Ingrid. They wake her from sleep with scare or as with scare or as crawling centipedes and foul her meals. She believes these are delusions but confides in a character who befriended her. Okay. Violence. The cult leader suggests a sleep and food deprived Ingrid show off her experience by facing a character, perhaps one she befriended on the Justly Scorned in part one, in a duel to first blood. Oh, wow. Ingrid refuses, not wishing to harm her friend and dredge up all the horrors. The leaders accuse her of cowardice. Oh, man. Like, I know this adventure is starting to get dark, like really dark and, scary, but this is, I'm imagining like us playing this adventure, right? And one of the players decide, all right, you know what? Let me befriend one of the NPCs. Let me be good to the NPCs. I'm not gonna be like a jerk player and do all this shenanigans all the time. I wanna, I wanna save some NPCs, or at least like to have some balance with with the characters who are doing chaotic stuff. Let me befriend one of the NPCs, and the DM lets you successfully do that here with Ingrid. And then these jerk cult leaders, with the regimen that they're giving to her, and then all of a sudden you go into a duel with the NPC that you befriended, and it's like a duel to the death, right? Like, one has to die, or else you're gonna be exiled, or worse, gonna be fed to hyenas. So that is dark and amazing at the same time. I would like to say, like, man, the thought process that came to, writing this and having this particular encounter, I'm amazed. I'm amazed. I hope we can see more. All right. I'm loving what I'm seeing. I mean, again, it's not for everyone. Uh, but we are dealing with cults. They're doing like really evil stuff, and you can see it here. Like, it's evil in a way that it's the kind of evil that you hate, right? Not the one that you're gonna cheer on, like murder and stealing stuff. No, not like that. Not like, but this is like, I'm gonna make you sleep and food deprive. I'm gonna slowly break your mind, and then you start to befriend one of the NPCs. Well, I'm gonna put you two in an arena, and then you fight to the death. How about that, right? Um, which is scary, right? And if you can evoke that scariness, like how these cult or this particular cult is scary in this particular adventure, then I think the writer has succeeded on its his job, because now if you play like vanilla D&D, um, the dungeon master tells you, all right, there are like four cultists here that worships, I don't know, Tiamat or elemental princes or demon lords, whatever, right? What do you do? All right, I go and shoot an arrow or slash that one cultist with my sword. It's just, you know, there are cultists by name, but technically they're just kind of like cannon fodder, frontliner, henchman kind of guys. But here, oh man, you get the definition, like the full definition of cult, right? And it's super freaking scary. And as you're reading it, it's like this adventure is slowly turning to like a cult 101. God damn. It is super scary. Okay. Uh anyway, development. If the character chooses to fight, Ingrid's old instincts take over and she attacks with a berserker's fury. The cult leaders must gleefully pull her back after either the character or Ingrid draws first blood. Oh man, no killing. Okay. Uh, and then it's just me. It was just me. If the character refuses to fight Ingrid, despite aspersions on their bravery, they show she isn't alone or a coward. And their public refusal undermines Scory's message and shows the acolytes a different type of courage. Okay. Uh, with so many cults, the various gods and lesser beings, probably a good idea to learn some Cult 101. I recommend learning about the bite model for research into cults. What's the bite model? Is that like a real thing? Oh, the behavior, information, thought, and emotional control. Stephen Hassan. Okay. Holy, there is a real Cult 101. It's basically a breakdown of techniques and how people get. Yeah, it's literally, yeah, it is like one of the Google searches. Like it's Cult 101. Holy crap, man! Ow, that's scary shit. Okay, I'm so sorry, but yeah, it is. All right. Anyway, let's get to the next one and let's see if it gets darker or um just stays like we go into a plateau or something. Uh, Olega, uh, Hernes duck there. I think it's more like Olga, right? Olga. Olga is exceedingly clever, but the cult, like everyone else, is interested only in her strength. She's been sneaking off to explore the various secret doors, tunnels, and traps in the fortress temple, but her excitement makes her careless. She gets spotted or overheard talking about it, giving her cult leaders an opportunity to tear down her self esteem further. Exploration. Olga makes a thin excuse to suspiciously sneak away during free time or while on guard duty. She tries to get a befriended character to come with her. Otherwise, a character might curiously follow after, and she excitedly shows them a few of the secret doors in a trap. Humiliation. The cult leaders publicly belittle Olga during a meal or training session for sticking her nose where it doesn't belong, where she tries to explain how she thinks the old mechanisms could be improved. She actually stumbles over her words. Uh, they proceeded to mock her, and mostly because they aren't smart enough to appreciate her valid insights. I think it is Olga, but just a little different. Like some people have to correct you. Uh, yeah, it's. Does this have like a? Let me scroll up a bit. What page are we in? 18. Let me see if she's mentioned here. Yeah, no pronunciation guide for her. It's Olega. Olga. I. All right. I think Olga is like the best one that we have here in terms of pronunciation, right? Olga. It's like OHL. It's like silent E basically. Olga, right? Seeing my party dating Olga. All right, no. Um, what happens here? If the characters don't intercede, the laughter crushes the last of Olga's confidence. She fully retreats into herself, convinced only her brawn is of any use to the world. Oh no. If the characters defend Olga, it helps her to speak her mind while her words still fall on deaf ears. She sees that the fault is with them and not with her. Yes, Olga begins to appreciate her cleverness as her true strength and doesn't need the approval of others to do it. This resonates with other acolytes, and many of whom are succumbing to peer pressure. Yeah, I think that that's good for her. Olga. Ol- Olga. Yeah. Olga. Yep. Yeah, I think that it is a silent E, right? But the H needs to be there. I just can't pronounce it. It's both pronunciation. All right. I did play it. But the second one, yeah, the second one I think is the right one. I can't make everyone listen to it, unfortunately. But yeah, it's more on the OHL. Yeah, it's silent E basically. Olga. But my H is not coming out. It's shy. It's shy. It doesn't want to come out and be heard. Anyway, the last NPC that we have, Terrace Deep Furrow, Deep Furrow. Uh, Terrace is worried for his brothers and saddened by a. Oops, what happened to our PDF? Let me center it. There we go. Worried for his brothers and saddened by a seemingly passionless future. And his outlet for his feelings is music. He's been using his guard duty to listen uh, for the Sargassum Spirits song from the walls and watchtowers. He's been compiling their tragic story and attempting to translate it from Elvish verse into Common and Dwarven. Music. Unlike every other acolyte, Terrace looks forward to guard duty. If a character befriended him, he tries to convince them to join him. Otherwise, the character might be assigned to the same shift. Most find the spirit's mournful songs terrifying, but it really resonates with Terrace. Over the last few weeks, he's been able to piece together their story. Oh, we're gonna read this Appendix 3D. Destruction. The cult leaders claim they've gotten an anonymous tip about contraband, though this is just a lie, providing an excuse to look through the acolytes' possessions in the barracks. In the process, they find Terrace's notes. They proceed to belittle him for wasting his energy with useless pastimes and rip the papers up. No! Development. If the characters don't intercede, Terrace feels his heart break, but swallows down his pain rather than show any emotion. He begins feel like listening to like My Chemical Romance, and then like in high school, and then your mother just getting, what was it? Is it the CD at that time? Getting the CD, just kind of breaking it. Dashboard Confessional. Oh, what's this? Me in during high school, I think I got a hold of there was this movie like Queen of the Damned. I think that's the name of the movie, right? Queen of the Damned. Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah. And then it has like a movie sound. Yeah, yes. And then there's a movie of it. Yeah. And then yeah, my age is showing. But anyway, yeah. Queen of the Damned, like the new one, well, not new, like the one that came out like early 2000. And it has like a CD soundtrack, right? That I bought with my like lunch money or something. And those are like, when I go like emo mode, that's what I listen to. And just like, you know, when you just hate everything, you wake up and like you feel like everything is against you. I put that on. I like put that CD on the CD player that doesn't have like a skip protection, so it skips when you move, or like when you're on the bus, and then it hits like a I don't know a hump or something. Skip protection was a lie. Oh man, but yeah, I feel like this is it. I feel like if I had that Queen of the Damned CD, you know, the not work hard, but like, you know, saving my money to get that CD, and then somebody else takes that and just breaks it, throws it away, I think I'm gonna break down as well. So I kind of feel Terrace. I kind of feel what he's going through if ever we fail to intercede with this. And if we do, however, we kind of intervene by diverting the cult leader's attention away from Terrace and his papers, or later help him recreate what was lost. Regardless, their efforts help him realize that he doesn't need to sacrifice his passions in the name of responsibility. He shares his inspiring epiphany with others, which helps many of the impressionable youths see a different type of maturity. Okay, good. Now let's go to Appendix 3D. What kind of story are we gonna get? Tales from the Ocean Sisters. So let me scroll this. Hearing like motorcycles passing by. Apparently, there's a lot because I hear like buzzing their horns. Anyway, the island of Oman was always a bridge between worlds. Okay. But the way was safeguarded by the ocean sisters, dryads of the reef, waves, and storm. While few would pass through the blinking portals, many dark creatures tested this. I think we read this already. Uh, and holy crap, are we getting a raid? We are getting a raid. Oh my god. What is going on? M. Jeffers. Yeah, thank everyone. Yeah, welcome to our stream. Um, welcome to Lore Academia, a D&D stream where we read adventures because we have no time to play them, and instead, as we read them, we extract as much lore as we can about the Moonshae Isles. So right now we are reading an adventure module named Bloodlust Tempered, which is like the last part in the trilogy of like a Moon 5 or the fifth Moonshae Isles Rising Shadow trilogy adventure. So welcome. Feel free to stay. If you're on your way to work or studying or working, feel free to just put us in the background, and hopefully you get to learn some Moonshae Isle lore while we're on the background. If you're in the same side of the world as me and preparing to go to sleep, then again, use me as, I don't know, ASMR or something. Let me read you a story, basically. So, yep. Sounds lovely. Just got into D&D myself, so wanted to raid someone else also in the category. Thank you. So, yep. Thank you for the raid. And yeah, so right now we're reading The Tale of the Ocean Sisters, which is one of the NPCs was able to write. Okay. I feel like we read this already, but let me read again because I'm not sure. So where are we? The second paragraph, right? While few could pass through the blinking portals, many dark creatures tested the sisters. After all, they believed compassion was weakness. Okay? These wretches each fell, one by one, and their bones all joined the coral. For a gentle sea can be a righteous terror when unwarily crossed by fools. Then the forces of the shadows grew strong. The unseelie danced, and Unseelie Fae danced. The giants marched, and the gates swung wide before them. The sisters knew they could no longer hold back their enemies, who hungered for revenge. Still, they fought, even if death and worse was certain. Yep, I think we've read this already. The invaders broke the sisters and cursed the reefs they love. Darkness consumed all the life and left nothing but bone behind. The shadow creatures thought this torment would turn the dryads to their cause, but they were wrong. Even in an accursed state, the sisters were as wild as a raging storm. It is said they spite them still, forever struggling and refusing to surrender. And those were the dryads that we fought on our way to this island in Anvil. And being controlled by Scory right now because he got something. What did he get? He got something that can control. I forgot what it was. And was it in Moon 2? I know there's something that Scory got. Like, got it from one of Queen Konome's henchmen. I thought it was nothing, but that made Scory control the dryads. Shadow magic, not this one. Oh man, I forgot what that was. Did we not write it? It was some cultist twisted tempest. Oh man, we didn't write it. Justly scorned. There we Ocean Sister can be used. There, the coral skulls of the Ocean Sisters. There we go. That feeling when you organize it by module instead of having characters, items, locations. I know, right? Anyway, but yes, yeah. Here we go. We found it. We found it. So my way of organizing information works. All right, because we found it. Coral skulls of the Ocean Sisters. So this is the one that Scory got, which made him able to control the sea dryads. All right. Okay. So going back. Zoom out. There we go. So we talked to Ingrid, we got Olga, and then we got to talk to Terrace also. Now let's check the cult leaders. All three cult leaders are flawed and can be turned against each other, potentially removing Scory's most powerful allies prior to the confrontation in part 4. I thought Scory has 2 lieutenants. Oh, it includes Scory. So all 3 of them. Okay. The leader's flaws can be deduced through roleplay. We can do some insight checks during interaction encounters. Scory, which is the leader of the Gardens of the North and also secretly a worshiper of the demon prince Yenogu, or demon lord Yenogu. Scory appears to trust both Gorn and Elaris, but expects everyone to eventually fail or betray him. The characters can play into Scory's paranoia, framing Gorn or Elaris. Nice. I like that. Gorn, despite his posturing, Gorn has a truly fragile sense of self-worth. Oh, why do you do this? Why are you describing me? He finds it nearly impossible to refuse any challenge. This can be used to make him look foolish in front of Scory. And then Elaris. For all his big talk, Elaris is a coward. No. He is nothing more than a lazy bully who only fights when he holds all the power. Scory feels nothing but contempt for spinelessness. Oh, these are just too good. Like the not only was the author of this adventure able to flesh out the island, Anvil, flesh out the cult, the Gardens of the North, but also the NPCs, right? Also good. Like, you see their flaws, you see how they interact with other people and what happens to them if if certain events happen, right? And what's more is that these are all optional. You don't have to interact with all of these people, right? As the adventurer said, we can't save them all, which is kind of sad as well. Tricks of the trade. Let me see if there's any point for us reading this. Options. Alternatives for manipulating the leaders are purposely vague. Any idea should have a chance of success. Difficulty. Any plan to undermine the cult leader should require 2 skill checks. And then advantage. They give us an example. And then advantage. Any attempt to capitalizing on a cult leader's flaw should have advantage on at least one of the 2 checks. And then they give you an example. Okay. Development. If Scory believes either Gorn or Elaris are betraying him, he quietly kills them. Easy as that. He hides their corpses in the secret shaft by the kennels, planning to use it to transform the hyenas into gnolls. If Gorn or Elaris looks foolish or weak, Scory forces them to sleep in the barracks and take part in the training sessions. They resent their punishment and will refuse to defend Scory in part 4. And the characters can use that resentment to convince the leaders to turn on Scory because Scory is our target here. Okay. Collecting evidence. The characters must discover Scory Borson's evil and collect evidence of it if he is to be found guilty in a court of law once they return to where? To A. Where? To Narhelm? I think this is Narhelm. Okay. The island holds many potential avenues for revealing his true nature. However, these secrets are hidden. The characters must investigate, explore, and interact with the NPCs to discover the possibilities as described in part 2. And then, there's a lot of tricks of the trade here. Narhelm or Kerkaladir? Not really Kerkaladir, because Kerkaladir is where... Did we start in Kerkaladir? We didn't start in Kerkaladir in part 1, did we? We're straight up in Narhelm. Went to Enga. That's it. We're with the Gnarls now. We're here to talk to Haldis. There we go. Haldis is kind of the one that's kind of giving us the quest here. She's kind of the quest provider for us. And what else? So confrontation. Characters should assume Scory Borson won't surrender. They should also understand that making public, evidence-backed accusations is the best strategy to turn the cult against him. An ambush is likely to be viewed as an assassination attempt and would cause the acolytes to rally around Scory. Secret passages. Many of the cult's lies are hidden behind the secret doors and traps within the structure. If the characters are not able to discover the secret doors on their own, Olga can be used to assist them. Likewise, the characters might steal one of the cult leader's special suits of armor, probably Gorn's, and use it to easily find and open the secret doors. Yes. I remember this. The armor that you're wearing, if you wear like Gorn's armor, you get close to a secret door, it kind of opens. So, or we can weaken Scory. While collecting evidence, the characters also have opportunities to undermine Scory by removing his advantages and allies, or even turning his strength against him. All of the actions the characters choose to make influence the final combat encounter. You know what will be cool? If we can secretly turn all the cult shenanigans that they're doing and do that to Scory. You know. So they're making the acolytes like sleep deprived, making them drunk, just slowly breaking their minds to make it easier to brainwash them and follow whatever they say. If you can do the same thing to Scory without him realizing it, if I'm the dungeon master and my players start to do that, I'll be proud. I'll be super proud, and definitely a point for inspiration. Sure, you haven't read the Cult 101 yet. The bite one is new to me, so probably know the concept and everything. I just didn't know that it already, like, there's a format for it already. Oh man, imagine doing like a D&D talk, right? And then you go and line those up. Oh man, like how to write an adventure that involves cult, and you just follow these behaviors and incorporate them in your adventure. Where were we? Gnawed bones. Scory has been dumping the bones of murdered acolytes at the end of the escape tunnel. Each was fed to hyenas after he killed them, turning the innocent beasts into loyal Gnoll warriors. While it might have been wiser to destroy the evidence, Scory enjoys keeping them around as grisly trophies. Oh, this guy's sick. All right. And the characters might discover the bones showing the hyena's transformation. These remains can be presented as evidence that dozens of people have died on the island instead of running away, as the cult leaders claim, and that their deaths led to the creation of gnolls, right? Yeah, this is a good um, characteristic to give to Scory to make him like make him evil, like make us hate him, right? Um, or like at least you know for sure that he is the bad guy. Um, but but yeah, if you're like in this adventure and everything, right? Because you're in a game of Dungeons and Dragons. It all sounds easy, right? Just ability check and everything. Doing the suggested encounters here and stuff to basically stop the cult from and stop Scory from doing evil stuff. But I get a sense like in real life, this is so difficult to do. Like even like if you've been brainwashed, uh oh hey, what if the players derail the story? No, this is good because this adventure is perfect for players that derail story. Because again, where's that part? The start of part 3. Where's this? Uh, This part of the adventure functions as a sandbox, outlining different ways the characters might act to gain allies, collect evidence, or undermine Scory's power, right? So even if for example, they don't want to do like the quest given to them, which is basically arrest Scory, the leader of this cult group, they just want to do random stuff, drink, right? You have here drinking. You just have here like trying to become the leaders of the cult themselves, right? Or save the innocent, anything really. It's um, there are parts here in the adventure that you can use to help you go back to where you need to be, which is fighting Scory, because if you try to dethrone Scory in this cult, then that's the goal. That's it. You did a good job. If you're trying to save the innocent people here who are being brainwashed by the cult, that's also part of the quest. So it's good. If you're just fooling around, uh, making enemies, all that stuff, it will make it difficult for you to complete your mission at the end. But that's also part of the experience of being in the cult. That's what the cult wants, right? If you start to be chaotic in this adventure, you start to cheat on your assignments or task here in during this infiltration stage. That's what the cultists want, and they win if you start to horse around, basically, right? If you derail from the story, that's what the cultists want. And you tell that to your players, is that what you want? Do you want the cultists to win? Because if you do, then that's it. Game over. That's it. The cultists win. Yenogu wins. And that's where the adventure ends, right? Which is, there are parts here that you can use depending on how your players characters interact with the story, with the NPCs, and with the setting. So that's why I like this adventure. It's just, yeah, it will take a while to prepare because there's a lot of stuff that we're reading here. If you're new here, you're part of the raid. This is part 2 of the stream where we're reading this adventure. Part 1, I think the VOD is still there on Twitch, and then I'm gonna upload it on YouTube sometime this week, so you can all see it there. Yeah. Anyway, what else do we have? Gorn and Elaris, the lieutenants of Scory. Gorn and Elaris are privy to most of Scory's secrets. This also makes them culpable. While they are normally unwilling to betray Scory, if he punishes them, the characters can convince them to turn on their leader. See? Again, there are many options here. The characters can either threaten Gorn or Elaris with arrests and trial alongside Scory. Could do like a Breaking Bad scenario here. Or appeal to their desire for revenge. It requires some intimidation or persuasion check for vengeance. And then intimidation checks. There you go. For this purpose, have advantage against Elaris, but disadvantage against Gorn. Oh, I like that. And then persuasion will have advantage against Gorn, but will have disadvantage against Elaris because of their characteristics. Okay. Hidden demons. The dung quasits spy on and manipulate the acolytes. The dung quasits prefer to remain invisible within the barracks or use the secret passages. A demon's presence can be discovered through investigation or by befriending Ingrid. Okay. Defeating the quasits removes them as a threat, and the fiends' bodies can be used as evidence of Scory's connection to fiends. All right, this one, as I was reading it, I can already see the problem. This one is okay in terms of defeating the quasits removes them as a threat, which means it makes it harder for these demons to kind of manipulate the acolytes, right? But remember, never mind. I was wrong. These are quasits. I'm thinking of so I was thinking that they will explode when they die, but I'm thinking of mephits. Never mind. Yeah. Yeah, I'm thinking of mephits. Mephits are the ones that explode, not quasits. For some reason, I'm reading it and I'm thinking dung mephits, which will be fun. I think will be a fun monsters, right? Imagine having mephits made out of poo, and then they explode, and then poo everywhere. Disgusting and fun at the same time. Justly scorned. Captain Dag. Baby's diaper law. Yeah. Captain Dag Colden isn't the most trustworthy witness. However, he's privy to Scory's dark past and as Northland's Reaver and has received a lot of money to help cover up a lot of murders. If the characters already termed him against Scory, he agrees to publicly reveal what he knows. I think Dag knows a lot, provided he's guaranteed protection from Scory. If the characters haven't already turned Dag, they can do so with an intimidation check. If they learn what really happened to the acolytes and share this information with Dag, they have advantage on the check. What else? See, they're covering a lot of tracks here. So depending on which path you kind of take in terms of solving this problem with Scory. So you go with the gnawed bones, like the people that Scory killed. You go with Scory's lieutenants and try to manipulate them and turn them against their leader. You can go and try to solve this by dealing with the demons hiding in this temple / fortress, or use the captain the captain of the ship that brought you here to this island. And then lastly, you have the Knolls. Because of his connection to Kosach. Kosach? Was it Kosach? Wasn't it something else? It's Korash, right? Because of his connection to Korash, I think. Scory has the ability to transform hyenas into gnolls by feeding them the corpse of a person he's slain. However, they are presently only innocent and tortured animals. Learning about the hyenas require exploring and discovering the kennel. Killing or feeding them removes a potential threat. Their presence begs the question why Scory is keeping a secret pack of starving hyenas locked away and strongly corroborates other evidence. Oh, you can even go and PETA mode on this, and you want to save the animals, go. This will prevent Scory from building a Gnoll army. This is great. I love it. Gnoll Fang of Yenogu. The demon lord Yenogu created the first gnolls when hyenas following in his wake scavenge his kills. In much the same way, these Gnoll Fangs of Yenogu can create new gnolls by having hyenas devour a creature they slay. Through Courage, here we go. Scory possesses this ability. Character can recall this fact about gnolls and the demon lord with a arcana or religion check. And we're not yet done. There's more. We have the Sargassum spirits, the dryads. The shadow cursed dryads are tragic heroes deserving freedom and peace. Characters can discover the truth by recalling their story or through Terrace's work, translating their song. They can then learn the spirits are bound to a coral skull Scory has in his possession through investigation or communication with the dryads directly, and that Scory keeps the skull in his locked desk. In Area 1. If the characters have a note left by Kyolin ni Brianin from Moon5-2, I'm being reminded again of this really cool Fomorian giant, they can use the skull to prove the note's veracity, showing Scory was in league with the Fomorian. Yep, base Fomorian. Rest in peace, Kyolin. Each piece of collected evidence makes it easier to convince the acolytes of Scory's guilt, and provided the characters choose to publicly confront him. If Dag, Gorn, or Elaris agree to act as a witness against Scory, they can be called upon to give testimonies, and each witness counts one piece of evidence. Time. Okay. This portion of the adventure is primarily driven by social interaction and character interaction. Okay. And time involved can vary widely. It's likely impossible that the characters can pursue each lead, right every wrong, and undermine Scory from all possible angles in the time allowed. Especially if you're like in an event, if you're like in a convention or just in a store, running it for like 4 hours. There's a lot of like interactions here with different NPCs. So you might have to just select a few that you want to incorporate in your game. And Scory from all possible angles are whether they are stealing meat from the kitchen, killing demons, or sowing discord. These actions do not go unnoticed and raise suspicions. Scory does not require evidence or a trial to guess that the impressive newcomers are responsible, and he decides to deal with them. If time is running short and the characters are not preparing to confront Scory, he confronts them on his own terms. Of course, he gains a number of benefits when he is prepared for this fight. Alternately, the characters might ignore opportunities, avoid exploration, and not see the point in slowly undermining the cult. They might even decide to simply ambush Scory. You know what? Just kill him soon after arriving, without a full understanding of the risk involved. This causes the conflict to become far more dangerous, turning the final part of the adventure into a sprawling, multi-stage combat. Scory leads them around the entire fortress temple, easily staying one step ahead of them. The secret trap passages and undiscovered allies. So this is, how should I say it? This is kind of like a double-edged sword, um, in terms of adventure writing. I know we're supposed to focus on the lore, but it's just the format here is just good and good to explore as well. So this is a double-edged sword in terms of adventure writing, because one, on the good side, it gives you solutions, right? If my players go and choose path A, you can do this, or path B, even go as long as path E. We have, the adventure kind of gives you a suggestion on how to handle that, right? If time is a concern, this is how you can handle that as well. If you know if they're more murder hobos, this is what's gonna happen at the end. And it gives you a lot of things that a lot of the scenarios that might happen in a game of Dungeons and Dragons. This adventure kind of addresses it, right? Which is good for especially new dungeon masters, those who are new to D&D. This is the kind of adventure that I think you would need, right? However, if you're also new to D&D, or you're like excited to run an adventure module, a 4-hour adventure like this one, the bad thing here is, again, it's a long adventure, not the game itself. Like when you play it, I think you can play it in 4 hours, no problem. But the preparation is going to be longer because there's a lot of things that you need to read here. And as some of these sidebar tells you, you're not going to be able to incorporate everything to the adventure or to your game, right? So you're reading all of this to prepare for a game, and you're not using 100% of it because, again, different factors like time, you just don't like it, or there's an approach your players go through, and some of the encounters here don't apply, right? So that's the negative part of it. And then sometimes, and I know this is not the writer's fault as well, you write too many what we call solutions to encounters, which prevents the dungeon master from creating their own solution. So it's hard to translate this adventure, this story, into the dungeon master story, to my story if I'm the dungeon master, right? Because if my player decides to do this, I think this is what I'm gonna do. Bullet point 1, bullet point 2, bullet point 3. But if it tells you that if this happens, if path A happens, then you do this part or you do that part. So it already tells you. So it's a pre-written adventure. So everything is here. You're just basically following the instructions, and it lacks there's not enough room for you to kind of. There's still room, but there's not as much room for you to transform it into your adventure. All right, by default. So, it's a double-edged sword. So is it wrong? Is this type of style wrong? No, it's just as an adventure writer, you have to choose which one do you what kind of audience are you which audience are you aiming at? Like those that will appreciate this type of adventure format, or those that needs instead of 10-page adventure, or instead of a 47-page adventure, they need like a 10-15-page adventure instead, because they're going to run it at events and game conventions, things like that, and we need something that's easy to prepare, right? Or let's say you're gonna send it, your audience is like people like me who's having a hard time in reading comprehension, something, or easily forget stuff, right? So, who's your target audience? So, based on that, that's how you write your adventure. Or, if you want, who cares about the audience? You write it because you write it this way because it's fun for you, all right? And if it's fun for you, you start to attract, you know, now you start to attract your own audience, people that enjoy what you enjoy writing. And so there's what I'm trying to say is, in terms of adventures being written this way and having this kind of format, there's really no right or wrong here. It's just a matter of preference, really. So that's why we're blessed now in this time of age that we have DM's Guild Drive Through RPG, where there's all sorts of different adventures out there, even here in the Rising Shadows or Moonshae Isles adventures. We have short adventures, we have long adventures, we have things written one way or the other. So the variety is there, and which is good, right? But so that's why sometimes we're a fan of like one adventure, sometimes we're not. But yeah, so just pointing that out there. Anyway, that is part 3 of the adventure. Let me drink this now. By the way, when you run your D&D games, are you a snacker like me? Because do you know if this is like a local? I don't know if I can see. How can I show it? Well, there you go. This is a local snack that we have. So Oishi is very salty shrimp prawn cracker strip snack. What we have. I love it. It's always here. Doesn't smell the best, but it's shrimps. Shrimp. But I'm sure. Our sea dryads will appreciate it. That I can tell. Yeah, chips and dips and cookies and soda, Mountain Dew, right? And Doritos and everything. I don't know, man. I don't know how like people who play D&D back then. I think it's the same when I played this in high school. For some reason everybody just started to agree that you need to have Mountain Dew at your table when you're playing D&D. I don't know if that's the only available soda that you can get from the store or for some reason, but for some reason, yeah, back then, like twice or three times that I played D&D in high school, yeah, it's Mountain Dew is there. Um, that I remember. So, uh, maybe next session I should buy. Oh, maybe next stream I should buy one instead of drinking water. Water is too healthy. We need soda. Part 4. Let's finish this. This is it. Programmer's diet. Confrontation. Eventually, either the characters confront Scory or he exposes them as spies and traitors. This part details the many possibilities and approaches for how this final confrontation might play out. Okay. We need to remember that there's Yenogu's blessings here. All followers of Yenogu on the island gain the rampage trait, and although the actions of the characters can remove the blessing, through their action as discussed in the Isle of Anvil. So we have to remember that Rampage, when the cultist reduces a creature, yeah, we read this wrong the first time, but when a cultist reduces a creature to 0 hit points with a melee attack on its turn, the cultist can have a bonus action to move half of its speed and make one more melee attack, right? And then Scory also has the following bonus action: Incite Rampage. So one creature Scory can see within 30 feet can use its reaction to make a melee attack if it can hear Scory and has the Rampage trait due to Goose Blessing. Okay. So you have that. All right. Court of Public Opinion. The characters can publicly accuse Scory before the cult. The best time and location for confronting Scory is during a meal within the Great Hall. If the characters confront Scory in front of the cult, then it includes 12 acolytes, and the acolytes, the NPCs Ingrid, Olga, and Teres, and Scory's lieutenants Gorn and Elaris will be there. Turning the acolytes against Scory requires a group charisma persuasion check with with different DCs. And then the check automatically fails if we don't present any evidence. Okay. So we need to present at least one piece of compelling evidence to make a convincing accusation. The DC of the check is based on how much evidence is presented. So it starts with 20 with 2 pieces of evidence, with 1 piece of evidence, and then it becomes 15 if you have 2, and then 10 if you have 3 or more pieces of evidence. Okay. The acolytes ultimately are seeking to convince, we are trying to convince the acolytes. It's easier if they help fight the indoctrination and becomes harder if they made choices supporting the cult's control. If a character cheated during the training sessions or did nothing to aid the other acolytes fight their indoctrination, then that character has disadvantage on persuasion check listed above. If the characters act selflessly during the training sessions or help any of the acolyte NPCs oppose the brainwashing, then they have advantage on the roll. They can have a mix of advantage and disadvantage depending on what each character did to different NPCs. Development. How the NPC respond depends on the group check. So if it's a success, none of the acolytes fight to protect Scory, but they don't attack him. If we succeed by 5 or more, then they realize that they've been betrayed, are willing to fight against Scory and his allies. Failure. They remain loyal to Scory, but half are not willing to harm the characters when ordered. If we fail by 5 or more as adventurers, then all acolytes remain fanatically loyal to Scory and are willing to die for him. How many acolytes were here? 12, I think. 12 acolytes, yeah. If the characters fail in their attempt to accuse Scory, he orders them to surrender. If they do so, Scory, Gorn, and Elaris escort them down into the dungeon, and Scory brings along 1 disposable acolyte. The rest of the acolytes are ordered to scour the island for any hidden traitors. Scory sets Gorn, Elaris, and the dung quasits on the characters while he feeds the acolyte to the hyenas. Oh, okay. A private ambush may make it easier to cut off Scory's escape and defeat him, but it only makes the characters enemies of everyone on the island. The best time for ambush is in his room at night. However, the demonic spirit Korash eliminates Scory's need for sleep. So while the adventurers can potentially attack him here, he is never completely defenseless. If we ambush Scory, then all 12 acolytes automatically come to his defense. If we attempt to ambush Scory in his room, he begins calling for aid and then flees through one of the secret doors. If Scory is able to shout an alarm, then Gorn and Elaris arrive one round later from their rooms, and then most of the acolytes begin in their barracks but arrive within 1d4 rounds. Okay. Traitor among us. Oh, so these are like multiple scenarios. So one is if like we publicly accuse Scory of the evil things he's done. That's one. Second one is just assassinate him. Third one is there's a traitor among us. So if the characters perform too many disruptive actions, they raise the suspicions of the cult's leadership. However, this situation could only occur as time requires. Specifically, if the characters are attempting to perform additional actions, exploration, or investigation when there isn't time. Scory prefers to shame them publicly, confronting them with the Great Hall during lunch or supper. He calls them out as false and paints them as traitorous villains with whatever lies he's gonna gaslight everyone. The characters can still make accusations with presented evidence. See Court of Public Opinions above, but Scory and his allies are better prepared for a battle. If the public shaming is not sufficient, Scory and the other cult leaders ambush the party at a time and place that is to their advantage. Okay. So in terms of preparation, so his lieutenants will cast Shield of Fate on themselves. Scory will transform some hyenas to gnolls. Gives them armor, shields, and weapons. Gorn dons his armor, and Scory orders the Quasits to hide within the column of dungeons and help in the combat. And Scory also has the Coral Skull and 2 potions of greater healing with him. Oh, he also casts protection from fire on himself, energy fire. So Fireball, not as effective as we want it to be. Balance of power. The character's actions for part 1 to 3 might shift the odds considerably. So, depending on who will be befriended or turned into an enemy, these are the things that will happen. Any befriended NPCs do not fight against the characters, regardless of the circumstances. If the characters oppose their indoctrination, help them overcome their personal issues, and accuse Scory, they also provide the following benefits. So from Ingrid, we discovered that noble causes are worth fighting for, so she fight as the characters direct her, but seeks to attack Gorn, Elaris, and Scory in the absence of orders. Okay. Olga doesn't fight, but provides expert advice on building mechanisms, on the building's mechanisms. So we gain advantage on check to find and open secret doors, and on any checks to countermeasure against the traps. Terrace doesn't fight, but is inspired to perform his new song. Okay, why not? And this disrupts Karash. Oh wow, Karash's demonic power, with a little help from Tempest, of course. Yenogu's blessing is removed, and all antagonists lose the rampage ability. Wow, who would have thought that Terrace is the most powerful ally here, right? Because of the song. And get a little bit of divine intervention there as well from Tempest. Undermining action. So if the characters can take might, the actions the characters take might influence the encounter in the following ways. The cult leaders. So if Gorn or Elaris turn against Scory or vice versa, they don't fight in any conflict and they either aren't present or they do not rush to his defense, or they're already dead. Hidden demons. If we deal with the Quasids, Scory cannot call on them to attack during combat. The gnolls. If the hyenas were fed, then Scory cannot transform them into gnolls because you need a starving hyena to transform into gnolls. If the Sargassum spirits if we recover the coral skull, then the spirit manifests to cut the Scory's escape with a terrible storm and beasts drawn from the ocean depths, and this makes it impossible for him to escape. Okay. Oh wow, this is long. Okay. How do we defeat Scory? Scory is a blackguard, or uses a blackguard stat. So it has smite. Never surrenders without a fight. Possessed by a demon, Scory is much more powerful than a normal human. So tricks of the trade. We have acolytes here that can cast Bless. We have Gorn. We have Elaris. We have Strong Scory. We're not going to read all of this because, again, we're here for the lore now. So these are the ways to control combat, the final encounter, which is, if you didn't do any of the role play in part 3 and just went straight to fighting, you'll be fighting a lot. You'll be fighting Scory, the lieutenants, acolytes, the Quasids, and I don't know if you're gonna fight the Sargassum spirits too, but yeah, they're all mentioned there. So adjusting the encounter depending on how strong your party is, and then development. Scory's desperation causes him to reveal his true nature. Okay, the first time he uses spells or incite rampage, the ring of mind shielding appears on his left hand, and the demonic spirit of Karash begins to manifest around him. Just in time. Yes, just in time for like the final part of the adventure. Welcome to the stream. The fiend appears as an avatar of the demon lord Yenogu, a hulking, scarred gnoll with black spines and burning emerald eyes with long tentacles instead of arms. The ghostly fiend acts whatever way is appropriate at the time. So if you watch JoJo, Scory basically has a stand right after, like he reveals a stand after he casts a spell, his first spell, or does incite rampage. And this is what it looks like basically. Any acolytes we can see Karash manifest at least 3 times abandon the fight in horror. Like, yeah, they're gonna go, what the F is that going on here? Time to leave. If we're short on time, we can Scory can escape or surrender. He surrenders if he has less than half of his hit points. Blah blah blah. Okay. Or he can escape if he has more than half his hit points. Okay. So if Scory escapes, if the characters have the upper hand, Scory does everything in his power to flee the island like the coward he is. Likewise, if they manage to turn the cult against him, but he defeats the characters, he flees with whatever allies and resources he can gather. Hidden within the escape tunnel is a fast-moving sailboat set aside specifically for this purpose. If Scory can reach it, he purposely triggers the tunnel collapse trap when opening the seaside secret door of the tunnel to cut off pursuit. He then sets sail for the mainland, and if he has the coral skull in his possession, he commands the Sargassum spirits to cover his escape with control weather and charm sea creatures. Yeah. If the sailboat is damaged or the tunnel is already collapsed, Scory instead tries to reach the justly scorned ship, and he doesn't trust Dag Colden anymore, but intimidates him into setting sail. Fortunately, Dag leaves a trail of breadcrumbs behind in the form of rocks scraped by the hull in the direction he's headed. And if we recover the coral skull, then it is impossible for Cory to escape by any means. If he tries, the uncontrolled spirit summons a terrible storm, forcing him to return to the island of Anvil and surrender. If Scory is able to successfully escape in the small sailboat, he moves too quickly and stealthily for the characters to easily pursue. He escapes justice for now, potentially making it necessary for them to hunt him down. However, if he departs in the justly scorned, it is possible that they have access to hidden sailboat themselves, and they might be able to give chase following the clues behind by Dag. Okay. If Scory surrenders, we have a box text. And this is what happens. Scory Borson casts his great axe aside while dropping to his knees. Please, I surrender. Just don't. And the fiendish Gnoll spirit's flaming emerald eyes flash, and its open jaws darts forward towards Scory's upraised hands. He screams out in pain as a ring of fangs falls to the ground before him, alongside the severed finger it was wrapped around. The hulking, black-spined demon grunts dismissively, falling forward onto all fours as it pulls itself free of Scory with a lurch. It speaks in a guttural voice. As we speak, I don't know how to do that voice. As we speak, as weak as the rest, he says to the shivering acolytes, before turning to regard you. I am Korash, first fang of Inogu. Claim my power. It is your right. You need only kill this mewling whelp. Killers would do it. I know this is very tempting to players. Very, very tempting to players. And let's see. If the players use their characters to kill Scory, Korash returns to the ring of mind shielding. If they delay or argue, Korash impatiently explains more about himself and Yunogu. He endeavors to convince them of his philosophy, but only in the most straightforward and brutal manner. If they refuse, he finally abandons the ring to rejoin the eternal hunt of Yunogu in the abyss. Wow. Role-playing Korash. While his perspective and philosophy has secretly evolved, the demonic spirit remains simplistic in outlook. This is only strength or weakness, with the strong devouring the weak. The biggest shift is he believes that weak mortals can be made strong with the proper application of cruelty and suffering. However, he still remains a blunt, impatient, and savage. Korash's quote, "A fiend knows hatred by instinct, but mortals can be taught." Nice. I like that. All right. Development. Without Korash possessing him, Scory has the stats of a bandit. Oh wow! From Blackguard gets downgraded to a bandit and can easily be brought back to Norhelm for trial. If Korash's spirit returns to the abyss, all of the Guardians of the North who are secretly worshippers of Yunogu lose all spellcasting, making them far less of a threat. And in addition, Yunogu's blessing is removed from the island, and all of the Guardians of the North lose their rampage trait. The characters can claim the ring, Scory's ring of mind shielding. If Korash abandons the ring, it becomes a non-sentient ring of mind shielding without the demonic spirit inhabiting it and working to corrupt its wearer. If the characters kill Scory, Korash still possesses the ring. Because remember, the ring of mind shielding can have like a spirit inside. So that means Korash will still be there. Long on time. It is possible Scory has no reason to stay on the island or is quickly defeated when there is still more time remaining. This is especially possible if the characters decide to ambush him early and quickly deal with a large amount of damage. In that scenario, consider having the demon spirit of Karash manifest to fight the characters personally as an optimal combat encounter. Nice! So we can fight Karash. That's nice. Karash is willing to accept strategic retreat after a well-fought battle. He can also choose a new wielder for the Ring of Mind Shielding if Scory is properly beaten by superior foes. However, the demon is at a loss if his proven champion is defeated or flees without much of a fight. He can't tell if Scory is simply a coward, unlucky, or both. Does Karash manifest to personally test the characters and see if they are worthy of it? So there's even an explanation as to why the characters are fighting Scory if you have like more time in your game session. That's nice. What stats does he use? Treat as an alkylate. What is an alkylate? I don't think I've used that before. Alkylate is this a Arcana lot type of creature? Oh, my internet connection is slow. Oh, it's a demon. It's a demon where it's a CR11 demon. Has magic resistance, false appearance, unusual nature. Okay. All right. So yeah, CR11 monster. Oh, that's big. Okay. Might break free off to easily defeat Scory. Okay, and personally test the characters. If much of the island remains unexplored and there are allies at hand for him to use, he prefers to lead them into trouble and observe their actions from the shadows. Otherwise, he fights them directly. Okay. We can consider the following guidance when determining how best to run this optional combat encounter. So Karash is a extremely challenging foe. He's only appropriate for use against strong or very strong parties. Okay. I think there's stuff here that we can take. That's related to lore. So let's read it. In this case, Karash can help prevent anticlimactic ending. However, if a weaker party manages to defeat Scory, it's probably only through impressive tactics and hard work. The appearance of an even stronger foe aren't expecting to rob them of a well-earned victory. So let's not do that. In these cases, it's better to let them enjoy their success and spend any remaining time detailing the ramifications as an epilogue. Testing. Karash's goal isn't to murder the characters, but to determine if they're worthy of inheriting his power. If the characters have not explored much of the fortress temple, Karash can make use of many hidden traps and enemies. He uses amorphous to pass through walls and floors into secret passages, drawing pursuers into traps or hidden enemies. If they do not take the bait, he can instead turn them on each other with incite savagery ability or trait, or leap out with Yunogu's hunt active and then attack any characters knocked prone. Okay. With advantage for extra damage, of course. And development. Karash uses the fortress temple's defenders and traps to test the characters. Well, that's a lot. Been repeated like 2 times, 3 times already. Hoping to determine if Scory's defeat was merely a quirk of fate or evidence of their strength. If they overcome these challenges, he appears offering them his aid in exchange for Scory's death. So we need to kill him. If the characters accept and murder Scory, Korash returns to the ring of mind shielding. If they refuse, he attacks them again in earnest. This time he does not flee and fight until they are dead or he's banished back to the abyss. Oh, conclusion. We did it. We're here. We're done. Fellow sages. This is it. We're about to cross the finish line. This is a long, long adventure. The demonic manifestation shows the truth of any accusations, even if the characters lack other evidence. Without Korash's power, it is a simple matter to bring the weakened Scory to justice. He's found guilty of conspiracy in a fair and public trial. While some call for his execution, he is shown leniency, receiving only a lifetime of imprisonment in exchange for cooperation with the Crown's inquiries into the worshippers of Yenogu. The public revelation of the Demon Lord's influence shatters the Guardian's power. The cult only survives by evolving into something more accepting and benevolent, likely with the help of acolytes the characters befriended and inspired. Nice. Now we become the cult leaders. If if Scory escapes, then the Guardians retain a conduit of Yenogu to Yenogu and remain a dire threat. If he cannot be eventually located and arrested, he simply starts over somewhere new. Only this time, he's far better prepared for an attack and it's far harder to find. If Scory is killed, the characters show they are worthy of inheriting Korash's power. The demonic spirit infests the ring of mind shielding and attempting to corrupt whoever claims it. Worse, the Guardians of the North claim that Scory and whoever else dies on Anvil were assassinated by the Crown. Wow. Let's read that again. If Scory is killed, the characters show they are worthy of inheriting Skorash's powers. The demonic spirit infests the ring of mind shielding, attempting to corrupt whoever claims it, which is one of us adventurers. Worse, the Guardians of the North claim that Scory and whoever else dies on Anvil were assassinated. Conspiracy theories happening, all right? And then membership in the organization swells, and they use the martyrs' deaths to justify more overtly aggressive dogma and actions. The emboldened Guardians slowly drive the region towards a bloody schism, as some other Yenogu worshipping cultist steps into Scory's role. Oh, wow. And that is that it? Yeah, that is the end of this adventure. So we have the rewards, we have the characters. Oh, there we go. We have we're wrong. It's not Olga. It's Olega. That's how I pronounce it. Olega. Olega is Olega Hernes Dottir. Wow, okay. So it's here. What else do we have? So that is and then we have the stats. And then what else do we have? Modifications, okay. We have the Aileron, we have the Justly Scorned ship. We have the Isle of the Anvil. This is what it looks like, top view. And then we have the side view of it. And then we have like the map of the inside. Does the infestation affect the ring mechanic? I think this is just fluff because, well, let's see if there's any story awards here. I think there will be story awards. Guard schedule, we've seen that. Information about the Gardens of the North, we read that. And the Haldis Ulfsdottir's letter to us, we read that. Keolin and Brian's betrayal letter, give it to us. Or if she died, this is what we found. And then the Terrace's Tale of the Ocean Sisters, we read that. And then the last page is this Potion of Healing. There's no story award. So what's the flavor of this, the fluff of this Ring of Mind Shielding? While wearing this ring, you are immune to magic that allows... Okay, wait. That's the ability. Let's go to 1, 2, 3. The fourth paragraph. The ring is fashioned from yellow gnoll fangs bound together in a circle. If Scory Borson is not killed during this adventure, this functioned as a normal ring of mind shielding. If Scory was killed, the ring contains the soul of Korash, a demon spirit sent by Yenogu to possess and empower his greatest fangs. Korash sees the world only in terms of power. He seeks to push his wielder to gain strength by any means and to dominate the weak. He's mostly a voice in the back of the mind of the character, but could influence the character's behavior in moments of weakness. Nice. And this is the last page of the adventure. Page 46. That's a lot for a 4-hour adventure. And that, my fellow sages, is Bloodlust Tempered. We did it. It's done. That's the end of it. I like adventures like this because they can be rerun a few times and still be totally different. Yeah, so the replayability of this adventure, definitely good because a lot of paths that can be chosen by the players. Again, there's like open sandbox type of play happening on like part 3. Different choices are available. But let's talk about being lore sages here. What are the good things here? Sorry for scrolling. I'm trying my best. Okay. Where is it? There you go. Conclusion. One of the things that there's obviously a lot of lore here. I love this adventure. All right, it's heavy. It's super heavy. It's like something, like it's that kind of food that you eat once and it's really good, but you don't want to eat it every day, right? Kind of like that. Yeah, it's a heavy adventure, but there's a lot in it that is really good. And for me, as an adventure writer, especially for the Moonshaes, there's a lot of lore that we can use here. One is the Guardians of the North, because here I think this is the canon ending, right? I think this is the canon ending, the last paragraph in the conclusion. Like Scory is killed and someone else kind of takes over the Gardens of the North, right? Like they claim it. They claim that since the Northlanders are trying to go back to their old roots, the crown has sent someone to assassinate their leader, right? And they can spin the story and make, try to come up with lies and everything, and can be in the lie low from now. Like they're in the lie, they're like just laying low. That's why you don't hear anything about the Gardens of the North. But in future stories, who's the new Scory Borson, right? And then that new leader is either hunting the adventurer that has the ring, that has courage, or has another, or is possessed or like connected to another demon spirit of Yenogu, right? Another courage like creature. So that is good. So if we want to incorporate, if we want to go back with everything I've learned about cults during the stream, if I want to incorporate that in like future storylines, we can definitely use the Guardians of the North, right? Um, and especially if you want to pit them against like the Kendricks war, like with the hiking Derek Kendrick, the ruler of the folk. You want to have that conflict between the cult and the crown. Oh, it's gonna be good, right? And then if you want to involve some demons here, then we have this already. What else? Another thing that we can incorporate in future storylines are the NPCs. The NPCs here, Ingrid Olega, which is the correct pronunciation based on the guide. um, and then Terrace, they're so fleshed out that it'll be a shame if we don't use them again. Especially Terrace, right? Um, Terrace's song kind of helped in defeating Scory, if you interacted with him. And then it says there like with a little bit of help from Tempus, right? So that kind of lore can be fleshed out more, and how Terrace becomes like a real guardian of the North, right? Or a real follower of Tempus, and starts spreading that power, or religion throughout the Moonshae Isles. So that one's good, especially these are the NPCs that we helped, we empowered, we uh, prevented from being brainwashed by the cultists. So we can definitely use them in future storylines. And then what else that kind of interested me? Leonid the Fomorian. I think she died. I think that's the canon there. So I love her. I love that kind of villain. The one from Moon5-2. But I think she's dead, so we cannot use that. But her template, her template as a villain is good, right? And she knows when to surrender. Uh, she knows how to read, the situation. She's ambitious, but when she makes a mistake, she knows it. So that villain template is good to use in the future. And then the last one there is the, what do you call them? The seaweed dryads. I keep forgetting the name. What do you call them? There we go. The Sargassum spirits. Yeah, there you go. The Sargassum spirits. I think they're good because they have good lore. Like they're trying to prevent. They have access to portals, right? And they're trying to prevent anyone, to like get out or get in, through those portals, and but then the court of Vertomil, which is led by Queen Koname, right? Kind of just overran these dryads, and yep, kind of killed them all. And then you got this skull that kind of controls them. So there you go. Kind of got messed up by that. But that means if there are portals in this area of the Moonshae Isles, this can be like the Bermuda Triangle part of the Moonshae Isles, right? Or we can have more of it like that, here in the Moonshaes. When you go, you explore, you travel, sailing through different islands, and then boom, you accidentally go through one of these portals, and it's either the sargassum spirits that's kind of either be mad at you for entering these portals or try to help you get out, but that means you get access to another location somewhere either in the Moonshaes or the Feywild or Shadowfell or somewhere else. So there's a lot. I'm thankful, very thankful to Stephen Rowe, the one who wrote this, because there's a lot of lore here that we can expand on, which is good. There's a lot of information here, given that he was able to close out like the issue with Scory, but left a lot of information that future story writers can use as a hook and make good stories, right? So those who played this adventure, or at least those who listened to this stream with me and you all, if in the future you get an adventure that has like a reference to this, it makes it more satisfying to play, right? It's like a payoff for learning information from this adventure. So there. So those are my thoughts. So I like this adventure. It's not like what was it? Is it 5-1? What was that adventure? There were two adventures that we love. So one was written by Savannah. That one is just like the description is really good. And then there's another one. I forgot. Was it Moon 4? Oh no, not Moon 4. There we go. Was it Moon 4? Cindy Moore? No. Precious Cargo. Is it this one? Dangerous Dernal? I think it was Dangerous Dernal or Bloodlust Rising. Or was it I think this one, Bloodlust Contain. Yeah, but I know there's like S plus tiered adventure that we have, right? This is not, for me, at least for me, this is not a S plus tier adventure, but it's definitely up there, like a S minus or A plus adventure, because it's good. It's really good. It has a lot of lore, but it's also heavy, like you need something to clean your palate after reading it, because it's too much. But yeah, but it has a lot. It contains a lot of information. So there we go. So we finally finish Moon 5. Congratulations, sages, because now we're moving on to Moon 6, and Moon 6 is below Moon 4. We're now in the third row from the top, right? So we're now in the third row. We're going to Moon 6, which I think is a tier 2 adventure because it's yellow. We're now in a Moon 6 trilogy, and let's take a peek. What's happening? Oh, hey Toby. Welcome to the end of the stream. Thank you for joining. I appreciate it. I do. But let's take a peek at what's happening in Moon 6-1. Gotta support. Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you for joining. Glad you're still awake. A reopened eye. Oh, okay. Are we leaving the Isle of Alaron, or are we still gonna be here? All right, you know what? I can't stop. So let's just read the blurb, and then that's it. Okay. So this is Moon 6-1, Diana Voyer. So let's see what's here. Let me zoom in a little bit. So what's in store for us tomorrow? Tomorrow, let's read the blurb. Or make it smaller. Okay, there you go. All right. Conflicts arising in both the Feywild and the Prime material plane have caused some in both planes to call for a return of the balance in like capital B. Okay, balance. And for new alliances between the Fey and mortals. A seer new to the Moonshaes has prophesied your help in opening a new portal between these worlds. Oh, part 1 of the Earth's Mother's Eye trilogy. All right, so we're dealing about Feywild, we're dealing about portals, alliances between the Fey and mortals, and we have a new seer in place. We have diviners in place. Okay. Let's see if this is going to be good. It doesn't say if it's going to be in Alaron. Maybe it's going to be somewhere else. We'll see. Is it still going to be in... if it's in Alaron, is it still going to be in Narhelm? Is it going to be more Northlander focus or folk focus? A mix? We'll see. But yeah, here we go. That is it for us today. Thank you very much for joining the stream. If you like this type of content, then again, we read adventures, more specifically the Rising Shadow adventures, to learn more about the Moonshae Isles, Monday to Thursday, 11 p.m. Manila time, Philippines, because I live in the Philippines, or 10 a.m. Eastern, U.S. time, if you're on the other side of the world. So those are the 2 time zones we can play around with. So Monday through Thursdays, that's where we're at. Okay, and then a lot of things happened last week. Hopefully we can get a smooth, steady stream this week without any interruption. That's the goal this week. And then we're just gonna have like guerrilla stream of Fallout because I don't know where to fit it in my schedule anymore. That's it. So feel free to watch the VODs if you miss any of our streams here on Twitch. And if it's not there, you can go to YouTube. Just go search DMPaulG. You can follow me on Twitter for more updates. And then that's it, everyone. Thank you very much for staying with me. Good night. Good morning. Good afternoon. We'll see you again. Discord, follow us on Discord, yes, and then let's talk about more lore, more Moonshae Isles, or just some random stuff, right? And there we can chat all day, all night long there. Okay. All right, gotta go. Gotta do some other work with some adventures and events and all that stuff. So see you tomorrow, 11 p.m., 10 a.m. Eastern, 11 p.m. Manila, 10 a.m. Eastern. Bye, sages. Peace.